It was in early 2013 that Colin Barnett imposed an official ban on mesh-caged enclosures, saying that the image of people fighting in a cage was not appropriate for the West Australian public. As a result of this ban, mixed martial arts in Western Australia was dealt a massive blow. Current UFC fighter Stephen Kennedy says that having a cage in Australia is absolutely essential for there to be any kind of industry.
It's easy to advertise as mixed martial arts as cage fighting because of the UFC. People identify with it. If you put mixed martial arts on a kickboxing show, people feel like they're not getting the real product, and that, like I said, affects everyone down the lines. No shows means no fighters means no gyms. No gyms means there's no sport, basically.
Mixed martial arts was still legal in Western Australia during the ban, as these fights would take place in a boxing ring rather than the iconic octagon cages. Local MMA fighter Jed Bolton says that there are certain changes to the techniques of a fighter when fighting in a boxing ring.
With the cage, it gives you another aspect to work into your game. So there's a lot of wrestling, striking, that come from using the cage as a wall, like pinning your opponent, that sort of stuff. So, and then with the ring, you can't use any of that. You have to sort of take into account that it's totally different.
Kennedy, who coaches Bolton, says that fighting in a boxing ring also affects the continuity of a fight.
Anytime there's an awkward situation where the fight is affected by the ring ropes, it gets paused. The fighters get moved back to the referee's best assumption of a similar position in the middle of the ring, and the fight's restarted. As a fighter, that's the thing that weighs on your mind the most.
For many MMA fighters like Bolton and Kennedy, the safety outweighs the public's negative perceptions of the cage.
My last fight was in a ring, and it was just before the cage ban came in, and I ended up pretty much touching the judges' table with the other guy on top of me. So it 100% comes into play when you're fighting. There's always the argument where people are like, oh, well, you get punched in the face, you get kicked in the head, what do you care about safety? It's a sport we choose to do. Like you try and make football as safe as you can for the boys, you try and make soccer as safe as you can, you try and make anything as safe as you can. People are going to play sport regardless, so I'm stoked that the cage is in, that we're going to have the safety now.
Medical sports specialist Peter Anier says that along with boxing, MMA is a sport that can have long-term injury effects on these fighters.
So if we look at approaching sports from a medical sense, we should try and let people enjoy their sport and not be permanently injured, then as practitioners we should say, let's not do these two sports.
Yesterday, it was announced by UFC President Dana White in a short Facebook video that the UFC will be coming to Perth for the first time ever in 2018. UFC 221 is set to be held here at Perth Arena on February 11th, 2018 in front of a predicted sold-out crowd. The night will feature an amazing card of world-class fighters who will be pinned against one another inside the confines of the octagon cage. Tom Pryor, Notre Dame News.